So today I'm going to be working with the Oculus Meta Quest 3. I tried to record a video yesterday and it didn't really work out too well. You really couldn't see what I was doing, and people were trying to figure out, I guess, who was painting. I mean, I thought it was a little intuitive because, well, you know, I'm posting it from my account and I paint, but it's not so obvious for some. Still can't tell who's painting in this video, but the cool thing is you can kind of see what I'm doing from my perspective, which is really neat. It's pretty cool technology. It does offer like HUDs and displays, so I can pull up a web browser and I can use my reference photos, or I can use photos from my gallery to view what I'm doing. So in this, I'm looking at some glasses, a glare on some glasses I'm using as a reference to add in some details to the glasses that I started yesterday. I want to do a thin layer of white, a glaze if you will, over the part where the glass is, so that I can kind of render some more realism in the glasses. The metal frames that I ended up painting yesterday look really good. I still have some stuff to do with that, but I think it looks really good as is. There's some stuff that I got to work out. I ended up making some mistakes as I went along. I am smearing it with my glove, which, you know, I guess probably isn't there's probably better ways to do this. I figured it would work, and I tried the glove, and I guess I just went back to using a brush at some point because I kept on smearing it on other parts of the painting, and that was unfortunate. But I did get some smears that looked pretty good with the glove, but I just assumed that enough trial and error, I figured I'd just go back to using the paintbrush, because I kept on getting splotches of white paint elsewhere that I had to wipe off at times because I would have leftover paint on my glove, and it wasn't the best way to do it. But yeah, this is me painting from first person. I wet the brush, and then I go back with a dry brush so that I can better smooth out. So I tried to smear it here. It was kind of a fail. It ended up kind of adding more highlights to the eye, so you really can't tell that it's sitting on top the way that I wanted it to. So I would dip the paintbrush in medium, and I would wet it, and I would smear it around a little bit, and then I'd go back with a dry brush. You know, typically people say not to use straight white, but when you're smearing it like this, there's enough opacity in the paint that the color from underneath shows through, so it never actually ends up being completely white. So it doesn't look too unnatural, and there are some instances where highlights look completely white. And even when you put white next to a darker color, it'll dull it. So it's weird how that works. You'll see a bright color next to a darker color, and the darker color makes the lighter color look like it's more dull than it is. I smeared it here, totally messed it up, and I'm gonna have to go back and fix that. And that's when I was like, you know what, we're gonna just do all brush here. You see me reach for the bead, I was like, yeah, that's not it. I was pissed because I had the shadow exactly how I wanted it to look, and now I gotta go back and fix it. Right now what I'm trying to do is add some highlights around the rim of the glass, because the way the glass is, it'll raise up from the frame slightly, and you'll see usually reflections, and you'll see light bend around the edges of the lenses. And so that's what I'm trying to do right now, is create that effect. I think it's really neat using the Oculus, because usually I'll have to have my iPad set up on a stand so that I can see what I'm doing to look back at the reference. But with the Oculus, I can resize the window wherever I want and however large I want it. So I can zoom in, or I can minimize it, make it smaller. Really makes for being able to look at the reference way easier, and being able to dynamically record where my camera angle changes with my eyesight is really neat. So you can see which colors I'm picking. You can see when I dip my brush in my medium, when I grab my dry brush, and you can see the details that it ends up creating. So you get a little bit more in-depth look at my process and why I do what I do. The Oculus, this one, I have two. I have the older one, the Meta 2, and then I have the Meta 3. And I haven't looked into getting the S. I don't know what the difference is, but I might look into that if there's any new features on it. But this one was $700. It wasn't too bad. I usually use the MetaQuest for doing murals because you can do an overlay on the wall, and I'll be showing that process whenever I start the mural. Hopefully I can start as early as Sunday, but I might have to wait till Monday. I haven't been feeling too good, so I've been battling something. I don't know if I'm starting to get the flu or what, but you know, when you work for yourself, there are no off days. There's just days where you do what you can. Don't matter if you get sick. I know y'all like my cardboard paint palette. It's ghetto, I know, but that's how you know I'm a real artist. If I used an actual paint palette, you know, I've reached a level of success where I think that I'm no longer able to create anything meaningful. You start using actual paint palettes, you have too much money, too much success, not enough struggle. Those pliers, you see those paints in there? I don't paint often enough, and man, it's like the liquid cement. Those caps are impossible to get off. I have to use a pair of pliers or a wrench to get the tops off just to use the paint. This is where I was like, yeah, we're gonna pull out the big guns. I'm gonna grab this dry brush real quick. Dry brushes, they're my favorite. Keeping a completely dry brush, hard enough. That's why I got a bunch of brushes, so that I don't have to worry about if they get too saturated or they get some the painting medium on them. But I love dry brushes. That's the secret. That's how you get those really smooth gradients and transitions in the skin and elsewhere. A dry brush makes all the world of difference. An insane, absurd amount of white paint for no reason. I have a large tube of white paint, so it's like when I put a little bit on the canvas, it's almost impossible to get like a little bit. So the good thing about oil paint is it stays live for a long time, and you can even drop some medium in there to keep it live longer on the palette. But with acrylic paint, I end up with a graveyard of paint where it's just not being used, and it's so unfortunate. But the tubes of paint, they can really be stretched a long way. I've had some of those paints in that drawer for, I don't know, like 10 years. A long time. I was really happy with how the frames turned out. It turns out that I'm decent at rendering metal. The bridge there looks really sick. I like that a lot. And you can tell I used two different colors for the highlights, and I wish I wouldn't have. I'm probably gonna have to go back. I used a straight up white for the left part of the frame, and you can see on the right part of the frame, I used a, what is it? Light yellow. We'll call it light yellow. I can't remember the exact name of it. You can see it on the palette there just above the white, and you can definitely tell in the painting that it's two different colors for the highlights. I layered it in with white, I think, and I went back over it in certain areas with the yellow to try and blend them together, but it didn't work so well on the left side versus the right side. It's weird, it's trippy. You get close to the canvas, and as you get closer and closer to the canvas, things start to distort around the edge. You can kind of see it happen right there. I started getting kind of lazy. I was like, all right. Oh, I don't say lazy, more like confident. I was like, I started around the edges of the glasses first in case something went horribly wrong. I might be able to still recover. But now that I kind of got a better handle on how I was going to blend the glare on the glasses, I felt more confident just going straight to the middle. And glasses, typically, whatever light source is hitting them usually reflects in both lenses unless it's at an extreme angle. So I was like, okay, well, whatever I do on the left, I'm going to have to do on the right. I'm definitely going to be doing more of these. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a cool way to display what I do and how I do it. So, big shout out to Meta for creating this product. This product's super useful. You know, when the Apple Vision came out, I mean, I'm not an Apple slut, but you know, I do like Apple products, and let's be honest, the Vision Pro looked way cooler than MetaQuest, but MetaQuest has way more functionality and applications available for it, and it just made more sense because I looked at both, and they just, man, the Apple Vision just didn't really have a lot of applications whenever it first came out. So $3,500 didn't really seem reasonable. The thing about MetaQuest 3 is that it's really sensitive. The light sensors are real sensitive to natural light. So you can't get natural light inside the sensors whenever the unit is on. If you do, it can actually burn images, or it can distort or affect the display. So if you do wear your set outside, which it is possible to do, I've used it for murals before where I'm outside, you just have to make sure you don't take it off while it's on and it be exposed to direct sunlight. So if you're going to be painting outside, you just want to make sure that whenever you take it off, you've turned it completely off, or you're out from underneath direct sunlight to avoid from damaging it. But the Apple Vision doesn't have that issue. But like I said, I mean, you're going to buy a brick. It's not going to be able to actually do anything functional. So maybe by the next time they come out with their next iteration, it'll offer some kind of solutions for artists. But I didn't see an upside to spending, how much, yeah, it was like 5 times more expensive. Yeah.